Alright guys, got really excited once I put the substrate in and decided I wanted to go ahead and get the stones for the aquarium. So I went to a local big box pet shop. They had some lava rock that looked okay. Not really what I wanted. So I found a local aquarium shop, and lo and behold, when I walked in, they had dragon stone. So I decided I'm going to go ahead and get it. I heard so much about it, looked online, doing research about stuff, and it popped up quite a bit. So I decided, you know what, might as well get it. It was a little pricey. I think they ended up charging $7.50 a pound. Quick look online, and I realized it was a little high, but no shipping. So I went ahead and got about 4 pounds. Spent a little more than I wanted for rocks, but it should be pretty cool, hopefully. It's got a lot of cool holes and stuff in it, so I can plant some things, and you know, if I do shrimp, they'll have a little place to climb, and I don't know, hopefully it'll be cool. So I'm gonna go ahead and pull this stuff out of the bag real quick, and then I'm gonna start cleaning it up. So that's what I got there. Excuse the dirty concrete, haven't cleaned it in a while, but it looks pretty cool. It's covered in clay, I'll tell you that. So it's definitely going to take a little bit of cleaning. It's going to need a decent amount, but it's pretty neat stuff. I'll give you a close-up once I clean all the stuff off, but I'm going to go ahead and start cleaning it up. It's probably going to take a little bit. We'll see. So I'm going to start by just hosing it off with kind of, you know, just a general shower head, and then maybe some high pressure. And I got kind of a skewer stick here that I'm going to use to get inside the crevices a little bit and see how that goes. It's definitely dirty. Lots of clay. Alright, so this is getting pretty messy, and I really don't want the camera to get wet. So I'm going to go ahead and stop it here, and I'll show you guys once the stones are all cleaned up and when I'm going to place them in the aquarium. Alright, here are the stones after I washed them all up. After I hosed them off with the high pressure water, I let them soak in a bucket of water for about 2 hours to kind of loosen up some of the clay. Then I let them dry out a little bit and brought them inside and used one of these skewer sticks to poke around and dig down in all the holes to clean those out of the impacted clay. It took a while. It was pretty messy, but one of the things that was pretty cool is a lot of these holes ended up connecting to others, and they run through, so you could pour water in one and see it come out other sides. So it's going to create a lot of little crevices and places for the aquatic creatures to live in. The one thing I was a little disappointed with was the fact that they came out slightly different colors after I cleaned them up. If you can see, this large one here, which I really like, is kind of red, whereas some of the others here do not have that red color to them. So they're not going to match as well as I initially thought, but I'm hoping once submerged they will look at least similar. But this is what I ended up with, and out of the 4.5 pounds I bought, I bet I lost close to a pound rinsing and cleaning these things up. Just with all the clay that came out of them and chunks that broke off. So I paid for, I would guess, about a pound, maybe a half pound of clay when I bought these. But they're all cleaned up now. I don't think there's much clay left behind. I'm hoping it won't cloud up the water. And I am going to go ahead and start kind of placing these in the aquarium and decide what looks good, at least to get an idea, a feel for it. So we will start that. Alright, so at this point I'm going to go ahead and start placing the rocks in the aquarium. I have no experience whatsoever with aquascaping or creating a hardscape. So I'm just going to kind of look at it and get a feel for it as I go, and just kind of start placing these dragon stones in there. My daughter desperately wanted to be on the video, and she wanted to help me with this, so she's going to be my assistant throughout this process. At this point I'm going to go ahead and zoom in on the tank a little bit so that we can kind of see my placement and my thought process behind it. Alright, so I apologize for the glare. It's fairly well lit in here, so there's a little bit of glare off the glass, but at this point we're going to go ahead and start kind of placing the stones, starting with that big one. I'm really going to use that kind of as the anchor and see how things look from there. And I will probably fast forward through most of this process so you don't have to just sit there and watch me slowly place stones. Kind of like it like this. So one thing you want to make sure of, and I was really cautious when selecting the stones, is making sure that it's going to fit through the small opening at the top. And this one is going to fit. I think it will be tight, but it should fit okay. And you can see about the size of the stone here, give or take. And this is just kind of a dry fit to get an idea of how things are going to look in the long run. I want to try to conceal some of the filter parts a little bit, keep it somewhat balanced. So I'm just going to kind of play with it. The one thing I want to be really cautious of is when I'm pushing it down into the sand, I don't want it to go all the way down and scratch the glass. So I want to be really careful about that. I don't want to scratch anything or put too much pressure on the aquarium, but I am going to wiggle it in there, and then later once I get some aquascaping tools, I'll kind of move the sand around a little bit better. It'll be easier than getting my hands down in there. So this is just kind of a temporary dry fit just to see how things are going to look and get an idea from there. I'm also going to try to place them as far to the back as possible, just so hopefully it'll promote the fish swimming towards the front so they're a little easier to see. That's one of the goals. For me anyway. I'm not sure if that's a good idea or not, but we will find out. So what I'm doing, for me personally, instead of looking for perfect lines or any kind of symmetry, all that kind of stuff, which I'm really not knowledgeable about, I'm just looking for parts of the rocks that look really cool to me. And the ones that I think will be visually appealing once in the aquarium. So here's kind of a rough idea. I'll probably play with it a little bit as I start to get plants. One of the next steps I'm going to do is actually get a testing kit to check the pH and that kind of stuff with my water here at home. I have an RO filter that a lot of the water comes through, so I'm going to start with that and see if everything looks decent for fish and for, you know, plants, and see what happens from there. If not, I'm going to start with some sort of maybe bottled water or purified water and work with that. I'm not real sure, so if you have any suggestions on that, go ahead and let me know. I'm going to go ahead and show you a little bit here of what we're looking at with the Hardscape so far. So kind of wanted to give it a, see if this helps at all. It's a little too dark. Here's what we can do. So I wanted to give it a look of like a little stone valley or a little mountain range of some sort with the pieces. I think it's a good amount. Could have had a little more, but it worked out okay. And like I said, I'll probably tweak them a little bit, move them around just a little to get the placement exactly the way I want it. This is kind of just a temporary dry fit. Next, like I said, I'll be testing the water and then starting to select some easy plants. I really want some easy plants to start with, you know, no CO2, maybe light CO2 liquid dosing, something of that nature. But here's the Ohko Stone, Dragon Stone, with the pool filter substrate. So we'll see how this works, and I'll start a video for the next step once we get to that point. So I will catch you guys next time. Make sure to like, comment, subscribe, give me any suggestions, all that kind of stuff. Thanks for watching.